We're live.
Yep.
You're stupid.
Okay, we're calling this meeting to order at 7:32. We would ask Michael if he'd, well, is Michael still here? Okay. Michael, if he'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm used to you sitting over here a little bit first.
All right, please stand. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I have the opportunity to say the prayer, so I'll go ahead and do that. Our Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for all the many blessings you've given to us and the opportunity we have to serve our community. We ask you to watch over those in our community, that they'll be guided and directed in the things that they are striving towards, and those that are sick and afflicted will be comforted. We ask you to watch over those in other countries that are struggling at this time, that things will be solved and worked out there. I ask you to watch over our first responders and our military, that they'll be watched over and guided and directed, and the leaders of our nation. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, if there's no questions on the minutes, I would accept a motion to approve calendar items 1A and B.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve consent calendar items 1A and B.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve consent agenda items 1A and B. Jeff?
Aye.
Leif?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
4 ayes. Next on the agenda, Jed Young, request for installing septic systems. Come right up here so the mic will pick you up and give us the scoop here.
You just said it right now on the head. I need to put in more septic systems. Need to build some more buildings.
If you look at your memos, since Jed's not gonna explain it to you, if you look at your memos, there's a little map behind it, and it has a drawing of where he currently has buildings and where Ag Parts is. Where he's building is to the east of 483 North State, or on the other side of 483 North State, that building that's marked that. So that's where he wants to put 2 more buildings. Right now, there's septic and water to 479 North State. There is septic and water to 483 North State. Nothing to 483 North, or excuse me, those both have the same address.
Okay.
The second one doesn't have any water or sewer to that one. Across the street, there's no utilities at 489 North State. There is a septic system at 487 North State and 485 North State.
485?
Where's
485
The
is
first
where
one,
Ag
Ag
Parts is.
Oh,
That does have
place.
septic?
It
Yes.
does.
So they're all on city water, but none of them are on city sewer.
Right, because there's no sewer
Right.
available in the area.
Right, okay.
Also with your packets, I added addendum to a letter, and the letter's dated July 20th, 2016. The addendum is dated August 2nd, 2016, and that is when I believe you were installing, is that when you installed the very last building, which is 483? I'm pretty sure it is, because we've got on here that at that time, no septic system was gonna be installed. The additional building would be allowed to access the septic tank located at 487 North Street. No other building on the premises will be allowed to install septic systems or access the existing septic system. An addendum to that letter, because I think that's when you did the first one, 1 septic system will be allowed for this additional building. No other buildings on the premises will be allowed to install septic systems or access any existing septic systems. I think when you put that new building on there, you was going to attach it to the one.
We just
To one
attached it to
side?
the building and used the existing.
Oh, but I thought that the health department would let you, that's why we had to do this addendum.
I don't think the health department's ever said a word, it's been you guys.
Well, no, I thought there was a reason, because originally you was gonna hook it to that existing one, but then you came back because you couldn't. Right here, it says, based on your contractor's statement that the existing septic system cannot be accessed, the following stipulation will be amended. So you were going to hook it to the existing one, and then your contractor said you couldn't, and so that's why you asked for another one.
So it looks-
Okay.
Hey, I know who his contractor is. How much did you have to pay him to do that, say that? No, I'm just kidding.
Anyway, that's why the addendum was created on there, because you couldn't access the existing one. And I think that's what the initial letter says, is that you was gonna access the existing one, which would have been at 480.
Oh.
I think he was gonna go to 479 North State, I believe.
So where are the new buildings does he want to put?
On the, if you're looking down at the paper, on the right side of 483 North State. That's what it says, adding on June 2020.
Both
Oh.
buildings?
It's on the
East
other
of
side.
483. Well, let's say both buildings, maybe 10 buildings.
10 buildings.
Yeah.
480, okay, so
I'm
483 has
just
septic.
gonna keep on rolling.
483 has septic, right?
Yes.
And 483 north,
Let's see.
Go this way.
No,
They're
let's see,
both
483 north has
Oh.
septic, 483, the one east of that does not.
And has more.
But that's
water.
because they're both using the same toilet. Does that
Those
make
two that
sense?
have
Is
the
there a
same
wall
address?
here?
Kinda, a wall about to there, and then the back half's open, so this is one building.
This is
There's
one
no
building.
wall, I was just there today. There's no
So you're just
wall.
building another showroom, is that it?
Storage.
I think why,
Storage as a
I
storage
think why
room
it's
for
showing
those?
two things is because there was two lots there.
So you're
but
building
it's like-
storage?
He's just
Put
adding
retail
onto the
out
building.
on those floors?
On here.
On
Is it-
here he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
So
he wants
now
to
it
do
would
two
be-
or more new
I've
buildings.
been turning down
But
hotel projects.
will they
I just need
be
room to
hooked to
store
this?
furniture. Is all.
So you're
Jed,
talking warehouse then?
your buildings, will they be hooked to these other buildings?
No,
They'll
no,
be
there'll be
totally
individual
separate.
buildings, all down there and all down there,
You want some more down here too.
eventually over here.
Going north on
Okay.
that same, on that.
Jeff,
lines.
since you're on the sewer
Yeah,
So
board,
what is this jog out?
can
That's where
we,
the cell
can you
phone
do a,
towers
can we
are
do a
at.
pressurized line?
Yes.
Just a,
The pressurized line would come out and drop into the manhole right in front of the subway. And we have talked about it, Dave and I, in years past.
but we'd have to go
about
under the
solving
railroad
the
tracks.
problem. You'd have to come, you'd bore under the railroad tracks. You'd bore all the way from the road under and tie right into that point, and that would solve your sewer system in that entire area. We've talked about that at length. The reason we couldn't do it before was because Irwin wouldn't let us, but now you've got those new plastic blades on those
Plug
grinders.
station.
You can do that.
Okay, so, where Scott Sargent lives, there's all that property back in there. Someday, somebody's gonna do something with that.
That's right next to all those homes.
They built a spot.
Yeah, it's next to the homes, it backs up to the homes,
Right.
and then goes over behind the storage, and I think attaches to Jed's property. I don't know that for sure, I'm just guessing.
So the point is that's why we allowed that new type of development, the RA development, was to use that, the parks people chose
Eight
not,
acres out there.
they chose not to use it, but it's an inexpensive way of doing it. And it would solve this problem immediately. I don't know how much it would cost. I don't know if you have to permit to go into the railroad track with a bore. It's not like you're doing a bore like you were doing an 8-inch
Yeah.
10-inch
or
sewer line
48-inch
something,
sewer
yeah.
line, like,
You don't have to dig it big enough to be able to
I
sleeve
think
it.
we've checked into that before, or I think we've did boring under it before, and yes, there is a cost associated with that, but
there's
I
a
can't
cost,
remember
but
where
it's
it
not
was
as
at.
much as boring a,
For some reason, the amount of 1,100 sticks in my mind, but
it
I
might
don't
be.
know.
This is all
But
this.
but what you do is you just line up on that road and you just bore under it and tie right into that and it drops. Drops in that
Somewhere.
manhole.
Right.
And we
So
talked about that, Stacy, you and I, for years ago,
Yeah,
of solving that whole problem that way. You just
but Earl would never let us do that, but now that they're making plastic bladed pumps, or I guess it's okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
asking, so. Because see, we got all this
Really is
property,
the way to go. I
all
mean,
back
some
in
Yeah,
here.
cities,
right, because this is where.
there's no
starts at, right?
degradation of the
Right
of
there.
the line.
so they've got all this
Pumps were out
property.
every now and then, but that's the
Could have
homeowner's
So
responsibility.
what, you draw the line down through here, would they have
What
to
is,
break that?
what
up a
really
little bit?
is driving this? Is it the health department regulations? Or is it that and the city ordinances? Or like what?
Well, you
Well,
can have a
It's
building
city
without it.
ordinances of having septics in the
Well,
city.
you can have buildings without it, but I
Um,
would just soon have buildings with it, so that if I ever decide to rent them out, they'll have a shitter.
Yeah. So that they would be more valuable to do that with.
I would like to see if we could get the sewer over there before we do more septics.
I'd
Well-
just soon you not. I don't wanna dig up my new asphalt you made me put in.
Well, you could come up the back, see?
I wish
That's where
Justin
you-
was here.
that's where
Justin
you
and Shane
actually-
Wooten have both checked into that, and they says it's gonna be really expensive.
We know
It's
you
up
have
to
the
you
money
guys.
though, so that's.
No, I'm not putting it in.
What, really expensive to do a pressurized system?
I don't know.
No, it's not. It's not that expensive.
Well, it's awfully easy for you guys to say it's not, come put it in then.
Well, I
no,
don't know
I'm
if it
just,
is.
I'm just saying that, Jed, from a standpoint that it's not. I mean, you go put a gravity flow system in, you're gonna pay, right now, $60, $70 for running foot. And this is a line, I mean, you can cut this with you can cut a thing this wide in your asphalt.
But I think it's all uphill and you gotta pump it.
It is pressurized.
Yeah, it's a pressurized
It's a
system.
pressurized system. You pressurize it from, when it leaves your building, it pressurizes it, sends it out,
Shoots it
dumps
across
it.
and dumps
Sends
it in the
home,
manhole.
huh?
And it's easy to install and it's not as expensive. I think it's something we probably should pursue.
Well, okay, so Snake River High
Okay.
School sent theirs clear to Idaho Falls with this system.
Sure, clear
Or
the-
clear to Blackfoot, sorry.
I was gonna say, holy
No,
cow.
no, clear to Blackfoot with
And
this
that's a
system.
little uphill.
Yeah,
And I don't know much about it other
no, you're
than-
talking about a line about this big would service a whole entire neighborhood and like I said, you just bury it down underneath the asphalt.
Well,
It could,
the
if
way
it
it lines,
is
the way
cheaper,
it lines
it
up,
could-
you might need to
It
go
could
on.
help, so you never have to come in here and ask for another septic permit again.
That's just part of your, that's just part of your plumbing for your new buildings, you just keep building your new buildings. Paying for your hookup,
Well,
whichever way, if
I
you're
wish
gonna put
Justin
water.
and Shane was here because they both investigated it and they says it's pretty hard to
Well,
do. And you
so-
guys sit here and say it's awfully simple.
I would want an
So
engineer, I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
wish
Well-
Dave or Justin was here.
Well, Justin's in Boise. Sorry.
David and I talked about it, it's not a impossibility. But, we were to spend all that money at one time to put it in there. We were to spend $250,000.
Well, who was the guy that was gonna develop it and never finished before
Max
you bought
Ryrie.
it?
Max?
Ma-
Right.
Yeah, Matt-
Okay,
That's
Matt
right.
Ryrie. Yeah, so at one time that was gonna be put in because he was gonna develop it, but then he never,
Yeah, we were trying to
Finished.
find how to get it up that railroad right away.
Weren't we talking even about trying to put a road there?
Well, we were
But the
trying.
railroad
Maybe
was,
We can't go over the railroad
right,
tracks.
'cause the railroad's so
Right.
They won't
difficult.
let us do it.
We wanted to get a permanent easement from the railroad and they wouldn't give us a permanent easement in case they never needed to expand. They just said it wasn't possible to do a permanent easement on a railroad right away. And we didn't wanna put a sewer line in down that road
If we couldn't
without a
ever,
permanent
if we couldn't
easement.
fix it.
Right.
I remember that.
well, my concern is
Well, can
putting
we-
septics in the city, but you've got all this property that's behind and to the side, that somebody is eventually gonna say, hey, I wanna do something with
Well,
this.
do we still have the same problem with the railroad about getting the easement to bore underneath their tracks?
No.
No,
So we can go
it's-
down the other side in through the neighborhood and hook up to the south.
So I thought we were talking about
You
boring
can-
under the
if you want
tracks.
to-
Yeah, we're
We are
talking
this
about
one.
boring into the tracks for the purpose of a high-pressure sewer system.
Right.
Because you don't have to bore a hole about this big. You go over and you line it up and cut into it.
Right, but
And then-
but if the railroad won't give us that
Well, we're-
easement, then what, are we even talking about it?
We was
That's
going
not
down
the
Spud
easement.
Alley.
We were gonna go down Spud Alley with an easement.
Oh, that they wouldn't let you.
We're gonna take the Spud
But they
Alley
will let
and
us
turn that
punch
into,
underneath the tracks.
yeah, we're gonna turn that into a dedicated right of way, and they wouldn't let us do that. So Dave and I talked about going under the road and doing that, but then Irwa said, no, you can't, because they wouldn't allow the metal, the metal blades, but now they've changed that, so. I don't know.
So things have changed since the first time you came and built the stuff on it. So it does allow for doing something that's gonna help you guys in the end. And once again, we would need to get it from, see what it is. We'd have to have Dave tell us, Justin, and have somebody give you a bid on what that would be and find out what the cost is to bore underneath it. Cause yeah, it's all about dollars, right? It's not about anything else but the buck. So we don't want septic systems in the city anymore, especially out there where that's the last thing on that side of the road that's gonna get developed
So
in the next little while.
there's nothing to do with Department of Health, right?
Well, I don't know, you gotta get a septic permit, but I don't know.
So there's no problem with that. That's not why we've had.
No,
No
so
problem
that's
with
what
that.
Jed is here for, is to ask for a letter so we can go get those septic permits.
Cause they won't issue them unless.
Yeah, they
We
won't
say,
issue
yes,
that
we'll
where
allow a
where he's in
septic
the
system
city
in the
unless he
city.
gets a letter saying that he can put the septic systems in.
Well, how many septics are you wanting to put out there? Additional septics.
Probably 4 more. What I'm thinking is 2 buildings can go into 1 septic.
Right.
Right now, just 1. But later, I should have just shut up and not talked about the next ones, but it's not the way I am.
When was the last time you talked to Shane and Justin about how much it
I
would
talked
be?
to Shane this morning, I talked to Justin this last week.
Oh, so they're saying it would be hard.
They're saying it's real hard to do.
I don't know.
I don't either,
I
but
would
it
think a
depends on where they're trying
pressurized
to tie in,
system,
you know?
one pressurized system would probably save you more money in the long run than 4 septics. Yes?
Yes,
I don't
Well-
know, 4 septics are what, about $3,500, $4,000 a piece?
5,500.
I was gonna say, yeah, when I talked to Ed Starworthy, he quoted me more like 6.
Yeah. They just keep going up. So it might be cheaper.
I don't know.
I don't have a problem with you having another septic system out there. How many do we have?
We're in a
out there now?
warehouse and they're not getting used that much. The one that gets used is the general public one.
I just think long-term, if you want to have, development that you're not held back on, it might be the way to go.
Well, I guess I look at it and I'm thinking, okay, right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 septic systems out there. And if you keep building, we could end
I
up
think there's
with,
5.
is there 5?
I think so.
Then we could end up with another 5. I don't know. If it was my property, I'd rather do septic systems because I'm just telling you that because it'd be cheaper per building or
Well,
whatever.
it's quicker and easier too. I just go in and do it, and if it's 3,000 or 6,000 on a building, it's not that much difference.
Do we have any city wells anywhere near this area?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good.
No, there's
no
a gravel pit on the far side.
Well, it's gravel, but it's
There
not.
is, who's on well? Is the Sergeant property on a well?
Yeah, they're on a well, aren't they?
Well, everybody's on a well out there. No,
No.
not everybody, just sergeants on.
Sergeants, I think, are.
I don't have a problem with it. He's-
My only
he's
concern
definitely-
is, how many are we gonna approve? I mean, like right now, tonight, we're gonna, if we approve 1 tonight, then if it keeps growing, in next year we'll approve another, there's a point, you're gonna have as many septic tanks as you are buildings out there. And then if the people next to them come in and say, well, hey, I wanna do the same thing and I'm building a house, well, I don't know. I'm just throwing out
What's that new division doing up behind me?
They're actually coming out on,
Center.
yeah, Center Street.
Well, actually, they're gonna go under center and across through Parks, and that's gonna be one big loop.
It's,
And they're
yeah,
gonna come
it's,
out on Fur, where we're
They're-
digging the holes right now.
Oh,
So we're upgrading the line, and that's where all of that in that subdivision's gonna go that way. But you have an issue with, there's a canal, and there's Geary's property, and others that are gonna be, I mean, you have to either go through the canal to connect into their system, if that was something that was available, which is, you're
So is
it'd be
that
just
their
as
pro-
easy to see what the cost is to go through, because literally the manhole over by Subway is on the back end of, you would go probably the back end of Shane's and your property off that road.
Right, so you wouldn't be.
So you'd go out onto that road and then cut through and over to the manhole, because the manhole sits right there in front of Subway. You
Yep.
can see it right there. So, and it's, what's that? 30 yards, 40 yards from the road.
Let's see,
Oh, they didn't,
that's that one.
So that's the manhole, that's the back of
Is that
Shane's
right?
place, that's
No,
gotta
I
be
don't
the
know.
manhole.
Yeah,
check.
they didn't.
Oh,
No, no,
Yeah, it's within, it's too close to.
In what?
I think we need to look
Yeah, I
at
was
the
gonna say,
pressure
does that have to
system.
be in the
Right
road?
here?
Yeah, it's-
don't know
that's
how
it
to
does.
talk about
I guess
Spec?
my
vaguely remember
my personal
something
opinion is
like
I think that we should look at, I think we should look at the pressurized system first.
Right there.
But if that doesn't work, I have no problem with the septic.
That's where I'm at.
I don't disagree with
It's
that.
in there.
But I think we should do it in a timely manner, obviously, we don't wanna hold Jed up.
Right. And then when a sewer if you have a sewer system that fails, then you can just hook up, right? If they have the pressurized line.
A septic system.
Yeah.
Water,
Oh.
I'm not a septic.
Yeah,
That's
French drains.
Richard.
What was your comment that you just made?
I said I would like to look at it, see if we could do the pressurized, see if we can get sewer in there. And then if it doesn't work, or if it doesn't
It's right here.
seem feasible, then I'm okay
You
with
just,
septic.
you just gonna pop right.
Cause I don't wanna stop
And
Jed
do it in
from,
a very
expand-
timely
yeah,
manner.
exactly.
Let's get this, yeah.
So.
Okay.
I do wish that
Hey.
Justin was here, that would,
I do too.
that would make a,
Do you want
So-
me to see if I can get him on the phone?
Yes.
They said we
Well,
call
we probably need Dave more than we need Justin,
Okay.
because you gotta have an engineer figure it
I can
out.
try to get Dave. I know Justin said he'd be
You can
available
do
if we
it any
needed
time
him.
between now and the next meeting.
Well, okay, so,
let's do that,
You've
let's,
got time.
okay, let's,
Want me to wait?
yeah, let's wait till the
yeah,
next
we don't wanna
meeting.
hold you up by any means, but
But let's work on it right away.
let's
I'll get
check
hold-
on it.
I'll get a hold of Dave and tell him what we're trying to do.
I don't have a problem with you having another septic. You can get on with the building. I just think over time, if,
It's gonna be better for all of you out there, the whole group
Well,
of
but-
you, and whatever else comes there, whether you stay there forever or you get hit by a bus tomorrow, whoever owns it after that is gonna be benefited by it, and everybody else, so. I think that's what we ought to at least look at it and see what it costs now and what the deal is,
I agree.
since the standards have changed,
Yeah,
cause it's been a
what was your
while.
So
question?
you're talking about approving it conditionally upon some,
No, I say we
no,
table it till the next
we
meeting.
table
Oh,
it
just
until the
table it?
next meeting, and we'll find out,
you okay with that?
That's fine.
so.
Do you have a question, Adam?
No, I was just gonna say that I think that we should find out as soon as possible.
I'll call Dave tomorrow and tell him that
We're
we
looking
need
at,
to investigate that, and I'll send Justin a text, cause he did say if I need anything, I can get a hold of him, so I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll check on it. We're not saying no by any
I know
means.
it, I know.
We're just trying to.
Yeah, let's check the other one.
Is there any chance that it could come back cheaper?
Well, it might not come back cheaper, but even
Cheaper
if
than
it's
maybe
comparable,
four.
it'd be worth it if he's gonna
Cheaper
put,
than before?
well,
I don't know if that's,
Cheaper than 4 sewer.
oh, I thought you said cheaper than
Yeah.
before.
No,
Is
it's
it like
cheaper
four-
than
four
4.
or
than
5
four?
sewers.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
might
yeah,
be.
maybe long-term it might be, I
Yeah.
don't know, I
That'd be
don't
good
know,
to look
okay.
into.
I don't either, so that's. what we-
Okay,
So-
so now, you know
so-
your next meeting is actually Monday, the 14th, because we've canceled the 22nd and you moved it to the 14th for
So
Monday.
that's good, then
Can
we'll
it be
just get
done
it
that
done.
soon?
I guess,
Yep.
Yeah.
they better get on it, huh?
yeah,
So be
Dave.
Monday.
Go ahead and put
Okay.
it on the
Monday
agenda.
we're having
Find
another
out what we
meeting.
need.
Okay.
Okay,
Alright,
so,
so I'll make a motion to go ahead and table this until our meeting on the 14th.
I'll second.
Does that work?
It's been moved and seconded that we table it until the 14th, so we can find out about the pressurized systems. All in favor? 4 in favor.
Okay, Leif, you got your marching papers?
So I do, I'm
Yeah.
putting it in my phone right
just so
now,
there's
so
no
I can call
confusion,
him
that's
first thing in the
actually
morning.
Monday. Tuesday night's urban, or P and Z, so Monday night is the next council meeting.
It's not our regular schedule.
You know me.
Do you want me to send you a text like an hour
Would you about
before?
15 minutes before the meeting?
All right,
There's a lot of squirrels out there.
all right, thanks, Jed.
Thanks so much.
All right, next on the agenda is Chad Williams, Alternative High School, just to answer a few questions. So, if you've got some handouts, great, and then talk over there so that it'll pick you up on the mic.
Microphone's on
Sorry,
the stand over
we
there.
Well, Jeff's microphone picks it up.
That's okay.
So sorry.
Good evening to everyone. First of all, I am a resident of the city of Shelley, so thank you for your service. I'm sure that these council member positions pay real well. And there's a lot less people here than last time I was here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it depends on what's going
Depends on when
on.
you come.
Hey, speaking of that though, Mr. Williams? right?
Williams,
Yeah, sorry, I should know that. I knew that, but it's been a long day already. I was talking with some folks down at Bingham County, and they had some land use applications that I was asking questions about. And anyway, they said they hadn't heard anything from the city. They said they do give, I mean, from the school district, that they give you notice, but they haven't really heard anything. And I remember, you had a presentation and information and facts readily available last time you were in here, and it's really helpful. And I said, well, I know they have the data that talks about the growth pressures and what we're looking at, projections and things. And I said, I wish we could get that in your hands. So I know you can't be everywhere, you can't do everything, but I was just wondering, like, do you have any kind of a way to respond when the county sends you a notice of a land use application or something?
No, I do. For the most part, the applications that I review, they're just small parcels. They're smaller. I don't want to say lots. They're smaller developments. So they're not like bringing in 200 homes or something like that. At least the ones that I've reviewed.
Well, and this one was kind of a mixed, because it was actually about 200 acres, but they were talking about only put in, I think, 10 or 12 homes. So maybe you made a choice not to submit it. But I just know the folks that I was talking to, they said, we haven't heard anything. We'd like to know what's going on up there so that we can consider it. It was part of their comprehensive plan. They were asking for a rezone of some property. And so I guess just for what it's worth, I think the county would appreciate hearing from you, even if you don't attend in person. Nobody wants to sit through another meeting. But if you could submit something, if you've got a little pamphlet, package deal, a memo, kind of explains things, I think they'd really appreciate that, because they were talking like, it went silent, we don't know what's going on, we'd like to know how to consider that. So anyway, I just want to, since you're here tonight, I thought I'd pass it on to you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate the relationship that the school district has with the city and vice versa. And after attending a couple, I think probably something that I need to do different is get on your agenda at least once a year, maybe twice a year, just to kind of update you about some of the major, quote-unquote, major things that are going on in the school district.
That'd be great.
I think this is probably one that I think caught you all off guard because you weren't well informed. So I'm probably about 9 months late here, I think. With that being said, Mayor Pasco asked me to come and just kind of talk about the Shelley Work-Based Academy and the Kindergarten Center. And I asked him to send me a few questions. And so these 6 questions are the ones that I kind of answered. I'm going to summarize each one of these, or not each one, but a few of them. But first I want to talk just about historically alternative school options for students at Shelley High School. When I came here, I was a little surprised that we didn't have, in my opinion, a better option. Because previously we were putting kids on a bus, they were going to Blackfoot School District at Independence High School, and it just didn't feel like that was the best way that we could serve our kids. And one of the first things I wanted to do, and not just me, but based on feedback from administrators, is what can we do so that we can better service these kids. They're our kids, we know them better, we have relationships with them, and when we send them on a bus down the road, we just didn't feel like it was best for them. The data shows that you're going to have about 10% of your kids that don't have success in a quote-unquote traditional school. And when I say traditional, I'm going to say one that you physically walk into, you go to period 1 for 60 minutes, period 2 for 60 minutes, etc. About 10% of kids don't have a success in that situation. And so when you have an alternative school, you want to have a different structure, you want to have a different environment and a different schedule. You definitely don't want to take them from a traditional schedule and put them into a different building that kind of does the same thing, because they're not going to have success there either. And so Shelley Work-Based Academy, and I wish Mr. Messick could have been here, but he's actually home from some training right now. But Mr. Messick has been the principal, and he's been the vision behind Shelley Work-Based Academy. Historically, when I talk about that 10% of our students are probably going to be in alternatives, would function better in an alternative setting, we were only sending about a dozen to independents. And so we have a little over 700 kids, so if I go by the data, I should have about 70. And so really, I look back and I'm like, I'm kind of foolish, because when we started our Shelley Work-Based Academy, we were planning on trying to get below 20. We were saying, okay, if we can have below 20 kids, we'll be able to get it up and going, and kind of have a trial run the first year, get through it. And what we found is, yeah, we were underserving. There were some kids that didn't want to hop on that bus, yet they weren't having success at a traditional schedule. And right now, we're about 50 kids in Shelley Work-Based Academy right now. So it's definitely been a learning curve for us, and a lot of things have changed throughout the year. Just in preparation for Shelley Work-Based Academy, I sent Mr. Messick and others to other alternative schools in the area. And if we were going to say one that we were kind of trying to mirror, it would be the one down in Minidoka County, their alternative school. I'm not exactly sure what it's called. But at the same time, we're also unique. We're not running ours exactly like theirs. And I would also say that we're evolving, we're changing. I would say to begin with, we were trying to be very, very flexible. We were actually really happy that kids were actually coming to school versus just not coming to school at all. So we were really happy when we could get them to school for half of a day. And I know that Mr. Messick has had a lot of flexibility with schedules, and some alternative schools, probably the ones that we think about, are very, very structured, provide even more structure, less flexibility, and Shelley Work-Based Academy kind of went the other direction, said we're going to have a lot of flexibility and see if we can't help these kids have a lot of success. And I think what we found is we were probably too flexible to begin with, and so we're slowly trying to provide a little bit more structure without too much structure, so that it's not like a traditional school. And that's going to be evolving. It's evolved from the beginning of the year, and I would say it's probably going to evolve for a couple more years, is what I would predict. Yeah, current enrollment's around 50. We only have 8 seniors at Shelley Work-Based Academy. I talked to Mr. Messick today, and I said, okay, how many are going to actually graduate? Graduation requirements are the same as Shelley High School. Probably in the future, as we get more established, we'll create our own graduation requirements for Shelley Work-Based Academy, but right now it's still under the umbrella of Shelley High School. He told me I'm planning on 8 graduating. He has a concern about 1 student. And the student has been a student that has been very, to tell you the truth, that's the biggest challenge. If you can get a student to come to school every single day, they're gonna have success. The particular student he was talking about said has come to school very consistently, but kind of just fell off the map here a couple of weeks ago, and hasn't seen him. I don't know if it's a male or female, but hasn't seen him in a couple of weeks. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through these questions, and then by all means be open to other questions. The first one I want to talk about is question number 1, how will restrooms work? Plan A, B, C, and D. And I think when it says this question, I think it was in fact because we're planning on Goodsell Elementary being our kindergarten center next fall. And we have 3 different plans that we're going to follow, and they're in the order that we want. So in a perfect world, and we're hoping that this works out, First of all, the legislature has to approve this budget, but we are anticipating that we're gonna be able to offer full-day kindergarten. And when we sent a survey out to kind of see who was interested in full-day kindergarten versus half-day kindergarten, it was pretty much split, almost 50-50. And so, Plan A, if you look at this, you can see that there's, I'm gonna go from the right to the left. You can see that there's some half-day classrooms, there's some full-day classrooms. Oh, and actually in Plan A, Shelley Work-Based Academy is not at Goodsell Elementary. I'm kind of following a couple of leads on a couple of buildings. I need about 3.5, 4 classrooms, and I'm trying to see if I can't rent them or purchase them. And I have a couple of leads. Hopefully one of those works out. If that's the case, we'll just go with Plan A, and Goodsell Elementary Kindergarten Center, it'll just have kindergartners over there. And it won't have Shelley Work-Based. Plan B, turning to Plan B, in the middle you can see that there's a green line through the hallway. Basically, we're gonna have separation. That's really what we're gonna do. We're gonna have separation. And Shelley Work-Based Academy will be on the west end of that building, which is on the left side, and the kindergarten will be on the right side. And actually, the latest change we made was on the bottom left, the boardroom where it says board. That would actually be Mr. Messick's office. It'll be his office so that we can have complete separation. So bathroom-wise, they'll just be they'll be separate. That door, I don't know what that's going to be yet, but probably a fire door that's closed at all times unless there's a fire, and then it would open up.
So what would happen with cafeteria though? If you're full-time kindergarten and the work-based kids need to be in the cafeterias down here?
So we'll just deliver meals to them down on that end of the building. And to tell you the truth, we don't have very many Shelley Work-Based kids that eat lunch at the school.
Okay.
So currently, what we do, I believe it's at Stewart. I believe we prepare the meals at Stewart and we deliver them to Goodsell. That's what we're doing right now. But we will have a cafeteria. Can you see the cafeteria on there?
Yeah, so how many, because if you go to full-day kindergarten, you'd have to feed lunch to the kindergarten kids. How many lunch people would be, like how many,
More
what's the
people.
ratio?
Yeah.
So like how many?
How many aides, how many
No, how many
cooks?
for cooks, like,
Oh,
is there, like you say they're gonna be delivered, like how many more lunch ladies are we expecting?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Boy, that's a curveball.
We would definitely.
I have a sister who's a lunch lady.
I would say.
Well, I know, but boy, that was a curveball.
When I walk into those other kitchens, it seems like there's 2 there to prepare, and
All
then
the
maybe
time.
3 once they start serving. I don't know the answer to that, you know, Kim.
Well, you're here to answer any question, right, Chad?
oh, definitely, he knows.
Any
that.
question?
We will have enough staff there so that we can make sure that we prepare food for everyone and serve it. And to tell you the truth, I'm kind of assuming that we're gonna prepare the Shelley Work-Based food in that kitchen. It may be that we still just prepare it at, I think Stewart is where we're currently doing it, and then we deliver it.
Oh, okay, so a question with that. If a lot of these high school kids aren't eating school lunch, isn't it free right now? Or is it not free anymore?
No,
It is free.
It's
That's what I
still-
thought,
it's still
so
free.
that doesn't make sense to me that,
I agree. I actually had that conversation with one of the head cook at the high school today. I said, okay, are you serving way more lunches because it's free? And the answer was, not really. It was a little bit more, but not significant. Okay, so that's Plan B, and that is, I guess it's just gonna be separate. It's gonna be separate. Plan C is, Plan C is also pretty similar to Plan B. Plan C is if the legislature does not end up funding full-day kindergarten and we're just half-day kindergarten, Plan C is gonna just allow us, we're still gonna have the same separation, but it's just gonna allow us to have a little bit more room for growth in that building if we're only half-day kindergarten. But I would predict, just following the legislature, Full-day kindergarten has gone through about 3 steps already, and there's only 2 steps left, and it looks like it's gonna go through.
So you're thinking either A or B then?
Correct. And preferably A. Do you know of any buildings available that I could purchase or rent that would be about 4 classrooms?
What
I'm
about,
interested in it.
Cold Cleaners building?
That could be a possibility for sure.
Because there's a kitchen, there's a bathroom, it's larger.
Knock down a couple walls, you get 2 different.
What about
That's
the
a China
seminary building across the street from you?
Also a possibility.
Because I know they're not using that anymore.
Well, I think the singles ward
YSA
has YSA just on Sunday, meet there for the first hour, and then they
Not
come
anymore.
over
We don't meet there.
at all.
Yeah.
We do for board
But
meetings.
they're going
we
to the
don't-
building.
We don't have
They're going in the
actual
building,
quorum
right?
meetings there.
Okay.
I had a
So I'm
realtor
aware of
call
those
me
two
about that
options.
building. I wanted to have
Do we have
some
any
out.
more here? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Do
know.
we have any more? I called on the Romaines building a couple of weeks ago. Sounds like it might be, actually,
Pricey.
it might possibly be an option for renting maybe. It depends. But yeah,
Okay.
to purchase it, it wasn't gonna be feasible.
Well, we should have asked Jed when he was here, his wife's wedding building that she wants to do at US Bank, put 4 classrooms in the US
It's
Bank
full of,
building.
it's full of furniture.
I know it's full of furniture now, but he's building another building to get the furniture out, and if you get it before his wife gets it, then the US Bank building would work.
Speculation, looking ahead to do something.
Let's give you 4 rooms. Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to follow up on that? You think it's possible?
I'd ask Jed. I mean, they bought it and it's full of furniture, but he's building another
Which
building.
one is it?
The
US
US
Bank
Bank.
building that she was gonna turn into her,
He
Well,
told
but-
me he has it filled with furniture though.
it's filled
The
with
US
furniture.
Bank building?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he bought it, and his wife was gonna do like a wedding
His
or
daughter was gonna do a
Daughter.
wedding event center.
an event center, but now it's full of furniture.
Full of furniture. Imagine that.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna jump down to the bottom, I'm gonna jump down to question number 6, about the criteria. I think sometimes the perception is that you get kicked out of school and you go to alternative school. That's not the case. In fact, it's voluntary. Shelley Work-Based Academy, all the kids that are attending Shelley Work-Based Academy are kids that said, yeah, I wanna try this out. Nobody's been like kicked out. But if you go to the last page in this packet, this is the qualifications to attend an alternative school. And if you jump in the middle there, A through G, you have to meet 3 of those criteria. You have to meet 3 of those criteria, A through G, in order to qualify. Or if you look at H through N, you have to meet 1 of those criteria. I don't know if a kid is ever like, hey, I'm gonna make sure that I meet this criteria. If a student has had like a lot of trauma in their life and they're struggling in a traditional school, they're gonna meet the criteria to be able to attend alternative school. And this is from the state of Idaho, so all alternative schools have this rule that you have to meet this criteria. And feel
So
free
you're
to-
saying every student over there either meets 3 of A through G or 1 of the other?
Correct. And I would say that for any alternative school in the state.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna jump to question number 5. This is maybe a conversation that I have not had with the mayor yet. We do have a need for another resource officer. We believe that we can keep another resource officer busy. And if after the legislative session ends and we know what our peers, for the first time in my career, that our budgets are gonna be in pretty good shape,
Yeah.
For the first time ever.
that we might be approaching the city and saying, hey, is there some way we can split this cost, share this cost, to possibly add. Wes Heyman is our current resource officer, does a great job. In my career, I've worked with quite a few resource officers, and Wes is one of the better ones. And I talked to him today and talked about how we could divide it up, and for sure, in his opinion, and he would be the one that knows the best, there's definitely a need there. He's spread pretty thin.
Absolutely is.
Yeah.
We've had those discussions.
Oh,
We
yes.
have.
Just recently.
Absolutely. We've been spread thin when I was as a rural. We definitely, with the size of our district, we need at least.
So hopefully, in about a month, I'm hitting, I don't know who to talk to, if it's this whole group or chief or mayor, saying, hey, let's see if we can't make this work. Okay, I'm gonna jump to question number 3. Open campus and kids are free to run all over town that don't have jobs. Our original plan, the original plan for Shelley Work-Based Academy was, let's have kids attend school for half of a day, and then let's hook them up with a job for half of a day. And if you ask Mr. Messick, the thing that he said that has surprised me the most is these kids do not have that skill yet. We have to help them learn so that they can show up to work, be responsible, dress appropriately, talk politely, things like that. And so we had this plan to do this, and then we found out he had a couple of instances where he set everything up, and the kids just aren't ready for it yet. We need to prepare them so that they can be. So that's what our goal is. And we have some kids that are attending half day. In fact, I think most kids start at half day and have worked to full day. I don't know the exact data. And like the student I was talking about earlier, sometimes we're just happy that they actually come to school. That's really the biggest challenge. If we can get them to school every single day, they're going to have some success.
So I can give you some data, because I had 3 times, because I travel back and forth all the time. The 3 times that I've been either coming here to do something, going through here, going to my house or whatever, 3 separate occasions, there's 6 to 9 of them that are half day. I would guess either that or that many of them decided not to go. Their path is to come over from here through the church parking lot and over to the pavilion at the city park, because it's cold. I don't know where they end up eventually, but that's where they go. So there's a little data for you. I don't know. I'm sure Mr. Messick knows it all, but and that's been over the last 3 months. So different times of day earlier in the morning, 11, 10:30, 11, noonish, 1 o'clock, and then even as late as I saw the 6 of them, same ones, together out in front of the church at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's a little bit of data for you, that at least from me being around. I don't know where they go, if they got jobs, if that's lunchtime, so they're done and they're going back after lunch. I don't know, but I seen them at those 3 different times, and like I said, it's the same 6 or 9 kids.
Okay.
So that's one of my concerns about it. I look at it and I think it's a great program, awesome. We thought 12 and we got 50. Okay, now we know there's a great need. Let's help the need, because I have a little insight into Independence because my wife teaches down there and knows a few people, and yeah, we don't want to send them to Independence. I have some relatives that have gone to Emerson in Idaho Falls, and we don't want to send them there either. So this would be great for our
you
kids.
got a pretty tough family, don't you?
A little bit.
Are we ready
Little bit.
for discussion, or are we still letting him talk?
No, but I just am saying, I like it, but this is my biggest concern about it, is that they're roaming town, and I know that that's something that the school's not in charge of, but who's in charge of
Well,
that, and
and
does
I
it
was
fall
told,
upon
and I don't
Chief
know,
and his crew to do it?
that there's no roll. Roll is not taking. Do you know?
No, that's.
That you're really trying, and I have to put in too that I think there is a great need. There is a great
It's a great
need.
need.
I've talked to parents that have kids over there, and some it's really benefited. Others, they don't think it's benefited at all, and they're even worried that they're going to even be further behind. So there's mixed feelings there, and it's just because in a place where I have the opportunity to talk to so many people.
So many moms,
Well, a lot. Well, and it's just not that, but like
lots of
that.
people.
How you said how lenient you are. Like there's so much leniency over there that these kids take advantage of it, and they're talking to all their friends like, meet the criteria and get over here because it's so easy.
No, we have found that also. not that we're saying, I'm not saying we found that they're saying, hey, friends, fail your classes so you can come over here.
Yeah.
We found that we needed to provide more structure, and so I would say we've started that over the past few weeks.
But that's hard just on Mike, because Mike's also over
Yeah.
all the special ed. And so, and there's 4-8s?
Right now, we have 3 teachers, and I want to say just 1 aide, maybe 2.
Okay. Are you ready for some questions?
No, I am.
Okay.
In fact, I'm done, so I have
Okay.
some questions.
So, I know we're city council and we're not school board, but I also think that we play a role because we do get a lot of phone calls and talk to a lot of people. So just, I'll put that out there. An IEP, an individual, is that what it is,
An
IEP?
IEP is an individual education plan.
Okay,
And so
so,
it would be like a student that qualifies for special ed.
okay, so in my mind, that is a contract between the school, the parents, and the kid, kind of saying that this kid doesn't learn traditionally. And so the teachers, do you want to explain it differently?
Yeah, I don't know if I would use that term.
Okay.
So an IEP, and keep in mind, I'm generalizing, but
Yes.
an IEP generalizes and says, hey, we have a student that doesn't learn at the same speed or doesn't learn in the same way that maybe the average student does. And so you say, okay, well, I'll just say Johnny. So Johnny, what can we do different to try to help Johnny out? And in one case, it might be, well, let's make sure that the teacher provides him with notes, and that helps him. Or let's make sure that we have somebody that actually reads his test. And if you read Johnny his test, he does a lot better. I wouldn't say that it's like traditional school versus alternative school, because we have IEP. We have students that are actually the data is the same. You're gonna have about 10 to 12% of your students that are on an IEP that qualify for special ed, and they're all grade levels, K through 12.
But people are assuming that the teachers at Shelley High School aren't doing their job with that contract because there's many students over here that have those. Like, why is the numbers, like, if there's a contract in place and you said that they, like, need some little help and everything, why isn't that being done at the high school versus?
So I would say that it is. And I
Probably
don't
is, it's just
know-
a certain percentage you're making.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a piece of data that I probably need to look at. Do we have more than 10% of the kids at Shelley Work-Based Academy that are on an IEP? Because if it's higher than what's at the high school, then we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, so I would be interested in that data. Is Power School up and running
Yeah,
for those kids over there?
it is, and that's been part of our,
Do you need a
That's
pen
been
or
one-
something? Did you need a, oh.
I got one.
I was gonna say, I can get you a pen.
I'm gonna take some notes here. Yes, Power School is our student management system, and
So parents it is up and working that the
It-
parents can look at their
it's
grades?
not perfect yet.
Okay,
I actually just sent a couple of my experts to a training, and we figured out how to make it perfect.
okay,
And so by fall, it will be perfect and more accessible for parents.
okay.
The way it's set up right now with the high school, it's a little bit clunky right now.
And I know most parents won't even take advantage of it, I just know some do, so,
I do.
yeah, so do I.
I look at it all the time.
So
For my
as
age, too.
I think as a city council, I'm just gonna say this, like, I do think Wes does a great job, I think he is, run pretty thin. And like, we weren't even aware of this alternative school until we got a phone call. What school, and there's still kids, there's kids going over, there kids out of the school vaping, stuff like that. I know there's things that happen over in the alternative school that also happens at the high school, kids aren't. So I really worry about the supervision, but I honestly, and I don't know if we have a way to do this, I'd like to see it close campus.
Okay.
Why?
Because
Yeah.
of the freedoms that these kids are going everywhere, there's already swear words written on the playground equipment. There's just that one hallway, that they can intermix, things like that. And I don't know, me personally, I do have a little bit of heartburn of keeping them together there. And not that I'm against the school, alternative school, I think that's a great idea. And there's some kids that are excelling and they love it. I just don't like the location of it there. I am the one that has grandkids. And I know
Go to kindergarten.
going to kindergarten, and do you know what? And not that they're bad kids, but there's things that's happening over there that aren't supervised, and I have a little heartburn with. So, I don't know.
Well, okay, so, but if you go to the regular high school, you can learn just the
Yeah,
same
you'll learn the same
language
word, words.
in the regular high school
And it's
halls.
written on the.
Right, and I wouldn't want the
Well-
kindergartners over at the high school either.
So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I
I mean,
I
the
know what you
goal,
mean.
obviously Plan A is the goal, right? If that works out, great. When I was hired at Ryrie School District as the high school principal, and I showed up there and they're like, oh, by the way, on the end of the hallway, you're gonna have kindergartners through first grade. And we just barely did this, and it was very controversial, make sure it goes smoothly. And,
Thanks.
so-
Poor
yeah.
Chad.
Yeah.
And there wasn't separation, okay? There wasn't
Right.
separation.
For,
There
but
was
who was at the end of
Ryrie.
school? I know, but
The
who?
kindergartners and first graders.
kindergartners and first graders.
Okay,
And on the other end of the
At the end
hallway
of
was
their school,
9
'cause
through
they had no
12.
room.
So it was
Oh.
9 through 12 going this way, first graders and kindergartners down this way. And what I can tell you is that, what you find out is that older kids are not mean or disrespectful around little kids. That's what I found. If we don't have Plan A, we're gonna be probably Plan B. We're gonna have separation. They're gonna, in fact, I don't know that they're going to interact ever. I'm trying to think when they would interact. They're gonna have different bus times.
do you
they're gonna
see
have
them
different
roaming?
lunch
Do you
times.
see the kids roaming now? So how do you know, how are you gonna keep them
Are
separated?
you talking like inside the building?
No, outside the building. When they leave, they roam, right, they hang around.
So if the kids are outside the building, yeah, they'll probably go to the gas station during lunch or something like that. The kindergartners won't though, right? The kindergartners are gonna be
In the cafeteria.
in the cafeteria, on the playground, in the classroom. Kindergartners definitely are never alone. They always have supervision.
Do you know what, you say that, but even right now, I know at the school that the special ed kids, like the criteria says that they should go to the bathroom with aids, and that's not happening. The kids that are special need, that are independent enough to go to the bathroom, they are going to the bathroom. And they share a bathroom with the adult kids right now. So you say they're always together, but right now that's not even happening.
No, right now there's not complete separation. Our building is not set up for it right now.
Right. But even the aides are supposed to, that's not happening. So what you say is, could all be good things, but like right now, I know there's some parents upset because she's literally walked in and watched her child walk out of the restroom by herself. And that was upsetting to her.
Okay. Yeah, she needs to let me know so that I can follow up on specifics like that.
So,
It's good to let your hairdresser know, but it's really good to let that.
and I don't know, I thought there was communication there. I thought there had already been communication. So,
Well, the people that have called me and stuff, I tell them, contact the school
Yeah.
because it's not.
I know,
really
so
a
we're not
city
the school
thing.
board, I
It's
know
not
that.
us.
The only thing is we do share a budget with the resource officer.
Yeah.
We do that. We have him very thin. We are growing immensely. So to make it a closed campus, I'd like to, Chief, do you get phone calls saying, oh, there's kids here, oh, there's kids here, and it's the alternative kids. So it takes our officers away for something else.
We
If it's a,
actually, I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't want poor Chad to feel beat up on. We had a call over there at Food Plaza this morning with a group of them trying to steal, shoplift stuff. And according to Food Plaza, they've been watching this certain group of kids. They've watched them 4 or 5 times. This time they finally caught one on tape. And it's the same group, they're coming right over there. And just the nature, what I've done for all these years, they are in dire need of supervision. military supervision. These kids got a mouth, they have no structure, they could care less about authority, about anything. And that's not your fault whatsoever. That's coming from the home, because their parents don't teach them any better. But just so you know, they are, Food Plaza has been hit by those kids shoplifting over there several times.
And this is a hard
And
conversation.
it's just because they have free roam.
Free roam, yeah.
So what's the laws in regards to truancy?
Truancy?
Truancy.
So,
There's really not.
It's not.
there's definitely some loopholes, right? So
There's a lot.
if you read Idaho code, it says from, I think, age 7 to age 16, you're supposed to be in school. If we have somebody that doesn't attend school, won't show up, then we do have the option to contact the prosecuting attorney and let them know, hey, Johnny won't ever come to school. And if they're between the ages of 7 and 16, the prosecuting attorney does have the authority to charge them with a truancy. I think it's, is it a misdemeanor?
Yes.
I would
That,
imagine.
that requires that they don't attend school at all then.
But all of that is done through the school and the prosecutor.
And that's for kids that refuse to go to school.
I know.
The challenge is, Mom, yeah, there's just some loopholes that make it make it difficult to prosecute, is what I would say.
And that is very true.
Yeah. You know, and I know it's really about, I know you get money. Keeping the kids in Shelley helps fund, and that's good. But the number of people I hear that know that kindergarten's not sanctioned by the state, so they're not going to send their kids to kindergarten if this happens. They were looking at Alturas. They're looking at Heritage. They're looking at Joy School. I've heard that there's going to be a lady opening up a private kindergarten. Are you going to lose those kids and they're going to find, oh yeah, this is good at these other charter schools, and you're going to lose those indefinitely? And so, do you know what I'm saying? You're just trading, I don't know.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not, that doesn't concern me.
Okay.
I think that, I think we offer a good product, I think we offer a good education, and I actually think it's good that people have options. And if they feel like our product and what we provide at Shelley School District isn't up to par, I'm glad that they have options. Maybe if, I guess I don't really, I know that you have to make decisions based on funds at times, but I, more often than not, I try to base my decisions on what's best for kids.
Okay.
And at least, and I know that it's a change, and I know that there are moms that are fearful that there's a high schooler going in the same building as their kindergarten. I know that that exists. I'm predicting it's going to be the same situation I had at Riley, that people are going to find out that, oh, actually, it's not that big of a deal. And actually, in our plan, there's separation. There's separation.
Are you looking at bringing in kids from other school districts, like Firth, Idaho Falls?
I would say long-term, we might consider it. We need to get good at what we're doing first, and then we have to have the space also, which we.
I was gonna say, I think we've already outgrown our 4 classrooms, so
Yeah.
we need to,
Yeah,
we
right
need
now
to
we
get
lack
better
both
at that
of those.
before he lets
We need to
anybody
get
else
better at what
in.
we're doing, and we need to have more space. I've been in communication with the superintendent at Firth, and he's interested in sending his kids, but we're a few years away from that, maybe more.
So yeah, that would just be my suggestion, is that we ask that it be closed. I really think, honestly, in my opinion, that you would see not as many kids go over there because they're enjoying the freedom. And then I wonder, like, are we giving them, like, we want to help these kids succeed, but if we're just giving them freedom to show up whenever they want, no role, oh, I'm having an anxiety attack, I'm going to go over to Food Plaza, like they're leaving continually throughout the day. Are we helping them, or are we just giving them a disability because there's not that much structure?
And I wonder, like, we're still below the 10%, right? We have a little over 700 kids, so really I should be expecting about 70, and we're only at 50. I can't.
And I would
imagine
like to
those
see the
succeed.
data on the
Six- so
IEP
looks like
numbers too.
success.
Because I think a lot of the kids over there, that's not fair if all of them are over here and we don't have any, because that puts even more strain on the teachers and aides and everything.
I haven't heard of that, like, because Mr. Messick, he's also our special ed director.
And he's ran very thin.
And I haven't heard of that, but I'm definitely gonna crunch that number.
All right, anybody got any other questions? Our big thing is I've had several phone calls and I don't have an answer for them other than talk to the school because
Are you
It's-
getting people showing
it's
up
not
to
really
school board meetings
city-based.
to ask? Are they coming to ask these questions at school board meetings?
About kindergarten,
About everything?
well, about,
Kindergarten, the alternative, anything like that?
I would say, we've been talking about kindergarten center, probably since January.
Right?
In February, yeah, so for a couple of months. Last month, we had maybe 4 people come. That's the first time that we talked about Plan A, B, and C, when we were actually ready to say, okay, here's what our plan is. And they were there, and we walked through the building, after the meeting, we walked through the building with them and answered questions for them and such,
But 4.
maybe 5.
So
I think there
one,
was mom and dad.
1% of the whole district population.
Well, it's
Probably-
probably
Or the high
kids-
school, it's
probably-
less
it's
than
probably
1% because
Probably
it's
parents that
not
have kids.
all
that
the
go
kids in the
kindergarten.
school district, it's just that. So yeah, that's what I feel bad about too, is that, and we have that same problem, that nobody comes and talks about it until it affects them or it's some issue, and so I feel bad that people aren't asking these questions or helping you formulate the plans, so.
So the criteria that they meet, who makes the final decision?
Mr. Messick, it's kind of an interview process. He'll sit down with them and go through that with them.
Okay.
anybody got any other questions?
Thanks for the info though. Thanks
Yeah.
for-
No,
Thanks for all you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
They are,
No, I think it's a good program, but like I say, I get calls and it's like, well, it's not really a city thing, it's a school thing.
is he trying to get, the other, stupid, I do have a question. Is he trying to get local people to hire the kids? Part-time, full-time, a couple hours before they go home, what is, and if that's the case, have we approached, the Rosses of the world over at Ace and the Burlams and the other places where it's like, hey, can it be like a work study where they go in for a couple hours, learn these skills that, trust me, the kid at Crumble the other day how he got a job, I have no clue. But I get where you're coming from on that. They need to be taught how to do these things.
No, so.
So is he working that angle?
He has, and in fact, I'll give a shout out to the Kiwanis Club. So Mr. Messick presented to the Kiwanis Club about a month ago, I would say maybe, so that the Kiwanis Club kind of listened to see how they could help. And actually, a couple members of the Kiwanis Club jumped right on board and have a list of things that they have, and they're putting together something so that, and they're gonna contact all of the local businesses for us and see if they're interested in whether it's internships for a couple of hours or half a day or a couple times a month or something like that. So, yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's being taken care of, okay. Because I know that, because I see them walking around, they don't drive. And I'm sure that's probably why they aren't successful in school. They're not driving either because they can't get that test passed, or their home life might not be that they have that accessibility to that. But it makes it hard to be a work study when they can't get to wherever work is.
For sure.
So I'm just curious about that because there are good people here in town. I would even to the point of, I think we could do something like that. I don't know what the rules are for like Justin and the crew. I mean, if these
Liability.
guys, yeah, have them come
Liability
and-
for us.
Just liabilities for us.
Insurance wouldn't
Yeah.
let them do that.
We can't even let someone under 18 drive the Kubota.
Well, I'm not talking about a Kubota, I'm talking about a shovel, talking about a broom.
Yeah, it's
I'm talking
liability.
about running a wrench.
Yep.
I mean, those kind of things would be invaluable, but if we can't, we can't, so.
Yeah.
Wish
Okay.
we could.
All right, well, thanks, Chad, for coming, we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I'll make an
Chad.
effort to get on your agenda at least once a year, maybe twice a year, just to kind of update y'all.
You will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay? Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Hey, thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Next on the agenda, recognize anyone from the audience? Dude, you're the only one. I know you're here for a different reason. We know, so.
Hey, you're gonna get to be the only child that's not married. That'll be an
And
advantage.
by the way, being the only child that's not married, living at home with your parents, dude,
pretty
you'd
good
have.
deal.
Hey,
Kim's not
it's
married.
okay, dude, it's okay.
It's not married.
For now.
You just said.
Yeah, for
He
now.
had to buy a dress.
Just for now.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't want him to go anywhere.
I don't hear that.
He works for me, so I don't want him to go anywhere.
Okay, new council business, business licenses. I think we have,
Business. We got business
we have a
licenses.
few.
Yeah, okay. Right here.
Just two, AWP ints.
No, three.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
think there was 3 there, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the business licenses as stated.
One second.
Oh, no, Chewy's.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the business licenses as stated. All in favor?
Who's this AWP ints?
Yeah. there's like
Hey,
a
I actually
traffic
called
control
them today because I thought, what the heck is that? And they are a traffic control service. Their headquarters is out of town, but so say Rocky Mountain Power comes in and is fixing a line, or Intermountain Gas, a line, and they need traffic control. This company has offices all over, and they send their people to those different cities to work. They felt the need that they needed a business license, so we said, okay.
We'll take it.
Okay,
Whatever.
all right. And there was 4 in favor, so we're good there. Let's see, consider adoption of the rezone ordinance for the Ohlers. Did we get,
Good read today.
who's
You
on?
got it?
Uh,
The cheat sheet.
I'll move that we suspend reading of ordinance number 630, City of Shelley, Bingham County, Idaho, an ordinance amending the zoning designation of certain lands and the zoning map and providing for an effective date.
On 3 different days.
3 different days, and read the title of ordinance number 630 once.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we suspend the reading and just do it the one time. All in favor? 4 in favor. Okay,
I move that we go ahead and adopt ordinance number 630 regarding the City of Shelley, Bingham County, Idaho, an ordinance amending the zoning designation of certain land and the zoning map and providing for an effective date.
I'll second it.
all right, it's been moved and seconded. Jeff,
Aye.
Leif,
Aye.
Kim,
Hi.
Adam? 4 ayes. Okay, next on the agenda, consider adoption of ordinance regarding residential estate zoning front setbacks. Who's next?
Where's the sheet at?
Where is it?
Right,
Right there.
Give it to Leif.
I'll make a motion that we suspend the reading of ordinance 631, City of Shelley, Bingham County, Idaho, an ordinance amending the front setback regulation for the residential estate zoning in section 10-8-2 and 10-9-2 of the city code and providing for an effective date.
I'll second it.
It's moved and seconded that we waive the reading of it 3 times. All in favor? 4 in favor.
I move to adopt ordinance number 631, City of Shelley, Bingham County, Idaho, an ordinance amending the front setback regulations for the residential estate zoning district in sections 10-8-2 and 10-9-2 of the city code and providing for an effective date.
I'll say that.
It's been moved and seconded. Jeff,
Aye.
Leif,
Aye.
Kim,
Hi.
Adam,
Aye.
4 in favor.
May not ever change.
Okay, amend specifications for city water meters. Sandy?
Yes, so Justin brought me over, let me get there here. Justin brought me over a couple models, and I don't know if he probably talked to Leif, but, so we've been having a really hard time getting, water meters in. They just are out of stock and back ordered. So there's a lot of people, especially out at Copper Meadows, that don't have water meters, so we're just billing them a minimum charge right now, which is okay because we're in the middle of winter, but pretty soon they're gonna be planting their lawns and so forth and so on like they did last year. So if you look on the behind the memo there, this is our specifications. On the far right-hand side, I've handwritten in so there's item 2A and 2B. Those are the two kinds of water meter we allow right now. Justin would like to add 2C and 2D, a Zener model ZSUR and a Camstrup model 2100. He said he found a vendor that has these. They look like really good meters. They have them in stock, and they're actually a little bit cheaper than the meters we're paying or buying now. Or, well, if we could get them, we'd be buying them. So he would like to amend the specification to be able to add those two models of meters on so we can get some in and coming.
And he feels like they are of as good a quality as what we are putting in now. It wouldn't
Right.
be detrimental to him or the crew to put that in, which is great. I say we do it.
Yep.
Fire away.
So what do we do? I make a motion that we adopt, or that we change the specs, amend the specs for water meters to include the Zener Model Z, SUR, and the Camstrup Model 2100 for water pits.
Okay, so moving seconded that we go ahead and include two more water model, or meter models. All in favor? 4 in favor. Okay. Let's see. Oh, call for a hearing to establish a fee for bulk water rates for construction.
Okay, so also on that one, several months ago, and you'll see behind that memo, we adopted a resolution. And this is when a contractor here in town, such as like the apartments, they needed water to do cleaning and they didn't have their water hooked up, but there was a hydrant there. We got a hydrant meter so they could hook onto that and pay for it. The first meter, option A, was $50 access and $5 per day. Option B was a $25 backflow fee and $25 per month. Justin said that there's going to be a windmill project coming in, and I think I've got the information here. He says that windmill project is going to need millions of gallons. We pump about 600 million gallons a year, but this windmill project will require millions, and then over the next couple years. The city can't provide all that water, but they've also talked to several other entities that's going to allow them to use water too. But if we're going to pursue that, we need to have a new fee. And he says he would like to, it used to be $20 a truckload, but sometimes the trucks are different amounts. So he would like to base it on $5 per thousand, which a typical truckload is 5,000, he said, which would be $25. So this is what he would like to amend to go with this hydrant, that if it's just a truckload, they would use a meter and it would be based on $5 per thousand.
Okay, and my question is, have we figured out what it costs the
Yeah.
city to pump that?
To pump that water or to.
1,000 gallons.
$1,000.
Does $5 cover it?
Covering it, right?
Yeah. So I guess
I guess we'd
We
have
would like to charge a fee that covers our costs in doing that. So what's the meter cost to replace? And are we using it is it put on the hydrant and then it pumps out and it measures how much water comes out of the hydrant?
Yes.
So the hydrant we're covering, it would just be the actual water that you want to know. So if we took our pumps and looked at how many gallons that we're pumping over a 30-day period of time, and then took our Rocky Mountain Power bill, which mainly is electricity to run those
Run the
pumps, and divided it down, that should give us a pretty close figure. So
Yeah.
that's probably.
Because I think just a $5 increase is not covering our costs, but it might.
It might, but yeah, because to pull a pump and rebuild a pump is a lot.
So you don't want to call for the hearing yet?
Well, I'd
Until you
like
get
to have some more information.
Right. I was gonna say, you don't want to guess and call for the hearing and with a proposed fee, which would be our cap, right? And then find
Yeah.
out in the meantime,
It's double
it
that.
needs to be more than that.
Unless we
Unless we
did
set
a
the fee
huge
at
amount.
$100 or something. and
Yeah.
we can do it.
Right,
Yeah.
unless you set it really high and then you're prepared, you could have that information by the hearing.
Well, the other question I have on that too, Sandy, is if we're providing water for contractors building the windmills, as he says, did somebody approach him about that? He hasn't told me about this, so. Somebody approached him and said, hey, we're gonna need water. So
Evidently.
do we have that kind of water we
I
can
was gonna
give
say,
to them?
I would say with the drought that could be
Yeah.
coming, I'm worried about
So
that.
he
Yeah, no
told
kidding.
me that
exactly
he
right.
felt we could allow, shoot, I didn't write that one down. We could allow, I wanted to say like, 200,000 gallons a day
Extra on top of what we use as the
for
city.
while they come and use it. He figured it would be maybe 5 truckloads a day. Maybe a little
Where are
bit
they
more.
building these windmills?
Probably right up here
He
on
didn't
the
tell me that.
foothills.
Yeah,
He just says
probably.
there's a big
Up on
windmill
the
project coming up where they're gonna need a lot of water, and so they're reaching out to Firth and to Idaho Falls and to Basalt, anybody, any entity that has water with fire hydrants.
So they can come and fill it up.
Is this something that needs to have a bigger discussion on?
I think.
Well,
Well, I think so.
We can
'cause-
come back and let you know what the electricity would cost.
Well,
You know,
even the
but-
whole
And
water
also the
thing.
water
I think we
thing.
need to table it till next meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, next meeting or
Well,
meeting
next,
after,
yeah,
till Monday?
yeah,
'Cause I don't
not
think
till
Justin's
Monday. We
gonna be
got,
back. Just Justin's not gonna be back
Till
till
the first meeting in
Monday,
April.
Yeah.
yeah, let's do the first meeting in
so
April.
do it.
Do I have?
All right, I'll make a motion that they table this, establish a fee for bulk water until the first meeting in April.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we table this bulk water discussion till the first meeting in April. All in favor? 4 in favor. I'd like to have Dave weigh in on this too,
Yeah.
because I don't wanna take a chance of running
Running
short
out of
on
water.
water, so.
Especially where we may not
And
have.
we're gonna be closer than anybody else, cause we've got water hydrants clear out there at the end of.
You're gonna be closer than anybody else on what?
Is it gonna be up
Our
behind,
hydrants go out,
the golf course?
you know,
where it's
down
going, Jeff?
Butte. We've got,
Oh, out east of
The
town?
bar grower stuff up
Yeah.
on top of foothills.
yeah, we've got,
Up past
they
Thompson.
run out over here, clear out there.
Up past Thompson.
So I think
Henry
almost, Monroe Road.
Yeah,
So
so
this
it's,
side of the
it's
hill,
Maybe not
you're
quite that far,
back,
pretty close.
Yeah, but it's
behind,
And,
Country Club.
basically you can put
Yeah.
them in
Back
because
past
they
Thompson.
line that
East of
neighborhood
Country
well.
back past Thompson stuff.
Yes,
So
yes.
that would be
In
the
our
closest
views,
place
our
to,
foothills would call, like,
you know.
right.
Okay.
Idaho Falls.
All right, old council business, we don't have any, so BJ.
Economy's
Happy to
gonna
be
crash anyway.
All right, Sandy. Awesome.
Nuclear war for nothing.
Everything's going good.
Is that the first time
Soccer
ever?
signups are out, baseball and softball signups
So
are
did you
out.
just think
Yep, I got it.
Stone from off the
No.
website, start being filled. Mayor's youth is doing pretty good. We've got asked to do quite a bit, so we're doing pretty good.
Okay,
Everything's going good.
good. Chief,
We're hanging in there, Mayor, thank you.
okay. Jeff,
Nothing.
Lev, Kim,
Nothing.
Adam.
I heard loud and clear that Chad needs another SRO officer, and so, which we have been discussing anyways, and possibly even another officer just because of other things that are going on, but, so we're working on that. We've actually been discussing that anyways, trying to devise a plan. But we're just thanks to Chad for the fuel.
Hey, how's your officer from this year?
He is doing well. Everything is going as I
I have a report for
Okay.
Justin.
I think he's ready to get back to work.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
ready.
Good.
Good to hear.
All right, Sandy, you got a report from Justin?
Yeah, he just wanted to let you know that HK started their work. They should be done by the end of May. Also, the shop, they've just been working on, the crew has been doing some shop work. They've been taking the Christmas lights down, and that he's pretty much set up a schedule for them to work while he's gone this week.
Okay,
Okay, also, Justin wanted you to know that there's a spring district meeting on April 12th. Not really, I forgot to tell you this. There's a spring district meeting in Idaho Falls at the Hilton Garden Inn, April 12th. AAC is putting it on. We have it every spring. It goes from 9 to 3. It's $50 and includes lunch. Usually Earl and I would attend it. But if any of you want to attend
What
it,
is
let
it?
me know.
What's
They just
AAC?
go over some of the new legislative issues that have come up, and we talk a little bit about budget and where we're gonna, their projections for increases or decreases, and I usually go to hear about the budget stuff.
so, okay, the only thing I've got is, before H&K started the First Street project, we ended up having to have Knife River dig down to the or sewer line,
Out in the,
out in the park subdivision.
Yeah.
And then Dave's, Forsgren came and shot it because Connect,
Connect couldn't get there.
well, I don't know the whole story, but they figured they were within, they told me they had a 6-inch variance there. Well, the person that put it in.
Connected?
Yeah, well, the person that put it in couldn't tell them the height, I guess. Anyway, so they dug down about 18 feet, and they were 9 inches lower. So if H&K would have put the line in at what it was designed for, they'd have been out of luck. They'd have had to put a lift station in. So it's a good thing we did.
Glad we dug down and made them go dig down, that's
Yeah.
good.
Now, we're gonna be discussing that hopefully at the next meeting. We're gonna talk about some issues about what plats need to be approved before we ever talk, or ever even discuss,
Yep.
or we ever scratch the ground with a blade.
So I agree. Okay, other than that, we'll call this meeting adjourned. Harrison, you turning that off, or what's the story there?
Hey, you gotta turn that off quick, they start talking.
We're only an hour and a half.
Oh, wait, I thought we were gonna make
Listen,
it.
Kim, you're the one that carries it out,
And Mike,
not us.
after he turns it off.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, but still, it's candy. It's not.